Yesterday was the Apple event. I'm sure by now you've heard all about, but still, I'm gonna make a video about it because, of course, I have to. It's Apple. So let's get right into it. The first thing they announced was a new Apple Watch, which was kind of a little bit of a surprise. Not that they announced the watch. I think we kind of already knew that they would announce a watch, but it was more that this watch has cellular in it, so you no longer have to have your phone around in order to actually use your Apple Watch. Up until now, if you weren't around your phone, the watch was pretty handicapped. It really couldn't do much of anything, other than like the little sensors that it had. But you couldn't get calls, you couldn't get text messages, you couldn't use anything that had to do with the internet. So now you will be able to do that if you get this watch. And to most people's surprise, the watch isn't actually any bigger than the Series 2. I think they said the crystal at the bottom is like maybe like much thicker, if even. It says like 2 sheets of paper more. So pretty much no change there. And really, the watch isn't any different than really the Series 2, but they are going to do 2 versions of it when it goes on sale on the 22nd. You can get a non-cellular version, which will be a little bit cheaper, and a cellular version, which will be more expensive. You can pre-order them on the 15th, and they come out on the 22nd. The next thing that they talked about at the event was Apple TV. For the longest time, since they came out with the current model of Apple TV, the one thing I've heard complain was that it didn't have 4K, which whatever, but they're finally doing it. It's a Apple TV 4K. It will support HDR, so that actually is probably a more significant thing than the 4K itself to me. It will pretty much be the same like Apple TV that you currently have, if you have one, the current one, but it will support 4K video and HDR, and has a A10X Fusion chip in it, so a little bit faster than the current model. iTunes will support 4K, and they'll only charge basically the same prices they do for HD right now. So, and if you've purchased any movies that get updated to 4K, your purchase will get updated to 4K with no charge. I believe Netflix is bringing 4K to the Apple TV, and I think it's Hulu that's bringing 4K as well. So you'll have stuff to watch in 4K if you have the internet connection to support it, and a TV that can do 4K in HDR. These Apple TVs will start at $179 for 32 gigs, and 64 is $199, and you can pre-order it on the 15th, and you can buy it in the store on the 22nd if they have any. So next thing they announced was the iPhone 8, and as soon as you see it, I always feel like they knew ahead of time that they had to have known that people were gonna see that and be like, really? But it was also kind of what I predicted in my blog post on Saturday. If you didn't see that, I'll put it in the comments below, or in the description below. But the iPhone 8, which looks, you know, like a traditional iPhone, you know, except it's glass on the front and glass on the back. Which at first I didn't, that kind of gave me iPhone 4S, 4S flashbacks. But there's a reason for the glass. I'll get into that. So it's a traditional style iPhone. You know, better camera, faster chips. What else? There can record 4K. Though I think the current one can do that. I don't remember. But you know, all the fun stuff you would want in, you know, an iPhone. Sports for LTE Advanced, so you'll get faster speeds on your network, Bluetooth 5, and wireless charging, which is what that glass on the back is for. Actually, it has to do with wireless charging. Apparently they're adopting the Qi standard for wireless charging, so actually if you have any Qi certified wireless charging pads and stuff, those will work with the new iPhone, the iPhone 8. You know, all you'll have to do is plop your phone down on the pad, and I think they said there's some cars that have it built in, so when you get your new iPhone, you can just plop it down on your pad and everything will, you know, connect and charge up. This will come in, you know, the standard 8 and 8 Plus models. If you notice a theme in their storage configurations this year, the 8 and 8 Plus will come in 30 or 64 and 256 models. That's it. And I believe the 8 will start at $699 and the 8 Plus will start at $799, and you can pre-order them on September 15th, and you could probably actually pick this one up in store on the 22nd, for once. Because the iPhone 10, or the iPhone X, whichever you want to call it, I think 10 is what they're going for, but this they believe is their biggest leap forward since the original iPhone. That's what they said. This model is basically all screen. I believe it's the same size as the Plus, but you go from, except the screen goes from like right down here all the way up, with some just a little bit of bezel here for sensors, and it will also have glass on the back just like the 8 for wireless charging. It's, you know, water and dust resistant like the other one. Comes in two colors, space gray and silver. Silver one looks really nice. That's the one I'm gonna try to get. They're calling the screen a Super Retina display with, I guess, the first one with true tone color on it. Well, you know, it has pretty much the same camera as the 8 and the 8 Plus, or the same camera as the 8 Plus, I should say. But, you know, they've fine-tuned it a little bit more, and the image stabilization is a little bit better in that in the 10. The front camera is probably the big selling point for it. Front camera has a bunch of sensors in it for facial recognition. So since the 10 doesn't have a home button, there's no Touch ID. So how would you use Apple Pay and all the apps that maybe use Touch ID for? Or even really getting stuff on the App Store at this point. You will have Face ID, which is facial recognition. They had a little demo, oops, but it seemed more like maybe something was wrong with that phone, not a problem with Face ID in general. Because any other time they used it throughout the demo, it worked just fine. It worked perfectly. It, you know, does a map of your face. It actually will learn over time. So, like, if, say, now I have no beard and I grow a beard over time, it will, you know, learn that that's still my face, even though it looks a little different. But it also, seems like it won't be fooled by photos or picture, or won't be fooled by photos or by like masks. So it's going to be even harder to get into than even Touch ID is right now. That camera will also bring portrait mode to the selfie camera. They're also adding a thing for iMessage called Animojis, which are animated emojis. It will take the take an emoji and map it like as your face, kind of, so that, you know, you will be the poop emoji, you'll be the fox emoji, and you can talk and it will sync up everything and record a little message, or you can, you know, emote yourself with that emoji. So maybe you don't want a happy poop emoji, you want a sad poop emoji, you can just, you know, make a sad face and it will be sad. It looked kind of cool, actually. I would like to see what, like, YouTubers are gonna do with that, actually. Since, once again, there's no home button, they had come up with a new way to go, you know, go to the home screen from like an app or the widget or anything. So when you want to go to the home screen, you actually just swipe up, and it just kind of throws the app away to, you know, to the back, and you're back at the home screen. And if you want to do multitasking, it's just like swipe up and then hold, and the multitasking comes up. Or I guess you can swipe, you know, through everything from within the app. This phone is the one that I'm gonna go for, and I'm sure everyone's gonna go for. These pre-orders actually happen on October 22nd. unlike everything else, where the pre-orders are the 15th on Friday. This phone also is the most, expensive phone. It starts at $999. So, yeah. And, but it only comes in 2 configurations of storage, 64 and 256. So, choose what you want. The higher storage is going to be more. But unlike the 8 and 8 Plus, there is only one iPhone X. There isn't a smaller screen version and a bigger screen version. It's just the 10X, or the 10. It will be available November 3rd, but I'm sure there's no way in hell that there's gonna be anything in stock in store unless you pre-ordered it. I can't imagine that you'll be able to walk into an Apple store and pick up an iPhone 10, that day. But they did also show off a little bit of some product that will go along with all these wireless charging products. The what were they calling it? AirPower. It's a pad, big enough so that you can put your phone down on it, your watch on it, and AirPods. Charge them all up on the same thing, and as you put stuff on it, if your phone's on it, it will show on the phone screen all the charging indications, and it has a little nice little animation. They also said that the for the AirPods, the charging case, you can buy a newer charging case that will be wireless charging ready, so if you want to do that, you can. But they didn't say when or how much this will be. It's coming out sometime next year. So yeah, that is pretty much everything talked about at the event. So let me know in the comments what you want to get or hoping to get. And until next time, bye.